There's a lot of noise about spiritual awakening and knowing about the illusions and mysteries and challenges that gives us a guidepost while we're on the journey, knowing what we're facing, how to navigate easily, and how to gain the most. In this video, learn about the 10 areas that often are difficult elements of the spiritual awakening journey and the upside of these difficulties and how they're transforming us. Learn about 10 areas that are frequently experienced on the spiritual awakening journey that include empathy and sensitivity, time and timelessness, grounding, fear of letting go or being pushed, the dark night of the soul, trauma, the loss of identity, loneliness and connection, imperfection, and Kundalini energy. While some people have an extreme transformative event like a near-death experience, other people have mild and moderate spiritual awakening experiences throughout their lives, like I have. Collectively, smaller experiences allow the person to integrate over time rather than a more extreme jolting experience. The first area is empathy and sensitivity. These two interconnected qualities are essential parts of the spiritual awakening journey as a developmental characteristic. Empathy is the ability to understand the feelings of another person or creature or environment, and components of empathy are compassion, kindness, thoughtfulness, and connection. Sensitivity is the ability to respond to subtle cues through different sensory awarenesses. These cues are nuanced human interactions that create insight and the ability to navigate peacefully without creating karma and distancing from others. There are different levels of sensitivity and kinds of sensitivity, and how these connect to empathy are in two elements, and they're consistently part of the spiritual awakening journey, although each person is attuned to these elements differently, depending on their life experiences, their healing, and willingness to work on their shadow or blind side. When people are on a spiritual awakening journey, they may have transformative experiences, but haven't developed empathy and sensitivity, which are also restraint, respect, consideration, and an innate understanding of their own impact on the environment and others. Because they have a blind side, which is also called the shadow, there may be a need to stay in control of their environment, others, and their life without the ability to regard the outcome of their actions. Because our blind side or shadow is part of our ego, it can be threatened by shining a light even on its presence. When we want to work on our shadow or blind side, preparing for this as a method to unravel areas that are holding us back, no matter if you have experienced a spiritual awakening of mild, moderate, or extreme nature. When we work with the blind side, there are 3 steps that can be helpful. The first one is asking to be shown our blind side, and that is a big first step. And when I asked to be shown my blind side, I felt sort of humiliated by my ego acting out its needs to be in control. The second step is being willing to own the behavior and whatever it is and the words that are part of that behavior. Yes, admitting you've been doing that and you want to change that response. And then the third part is showing up and changing and releasing the energy and the need to do that behavior. You no longer benefit from those words, actions, and support yourself in that. Notice how it feels when you no longer repeat those behaviors that were once unconscious. The next area is time and timelessness. And notice some of these areas are paradoxical. How the illusion of time interfaces with the spiritual awakening journey. Often, when people have a transformative experience, along with that experience is a change in their perception of time, especially during the experience. This is often how I can tell when I'm working with people, they have effectively transferred into a different state of consciousness. Their perception is either that the time that we had scheduled that they experienced was much slower than how we mark time in waking consciousness, or alternatively, their experience seemed to occur in moments when it was anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. When a person has a near-death experience, they may feel they've experienced vastness, met many different experiences and beings, evaluated their life, which would seem to occur over weeks, when in our markers of time in waking consciousness, it was only minutes. This same experience can occur in effective meditation, using psychedelics, hypnosis, certain kinds of nighttime dreaming, out-of-body experiences, intense musical experience, after-death communication, and other experiences that are transformative. Experiencing time differently can also morph over into waking consciousness in moments. The benefits of time perception changing can be understanding our past experiences in a different holistic way that allows us to and understand the threads interlacing relationships and experiences weaving through our life. We can identify themes and how there are changes in our responses to stressors and anxiety and even traumas. We even may be able to identify the tapestry of our goals we accepted in this life and how we overcame the hurdles to be where we are. This change can help us to notice the next steps and even to understand our life path and purpose. Changing our perception of time as a shift in awareness also disconnects us from the part of us that is future tripping and triggered by past events that were unresolved issues or traumas. Being in the present moment reveals the greater presence of opportunities and to feel the energy of the moment, to notice if these are our preferences and serve our greater purpose and highest aspirations. Another area is grounding. Grounding refers to our connection to Earth and being fully present in our physical body. Presence means to not be skewed by the past that prevents us from being present, and being present in our physical body keeps us centered and also allows us to tune into and be aware of our physical body receptiveness to intuitive cues, sensitivity, and guidance as these manifest in different areas of our knowing and body. It helps us to stay balanced and rooted in reality. When we become too ungrounded, we may experience feelings of disorientation, overwhelm, anxiety, and even detachment from our bodies. And this can be a cause for a crisis. Being grounded means we can integrate higher level spiritual awakening experiences while sustaining our presence on earth in an integrated way that allows us to embody these experiences wholly into our life and our life path. When we're ungrounded, there's a sense of disconnection or detachment from our body, and this can occur because the person has experienced trauma. Moments of significant disconnection are disassociation or extreme disconnection. We can become ungrounded from lack of awareness of the need to ground as a daily practice. Other experiences that contribute to disconnection are out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences. These experiences can create discombobulation and a separation and sense of being outside of the physical body. The expression that represents this saying is, they are beside themselves, or I am beside myself. Grounding as a daily practice brings confirmation of willingness to be present on earth as an affirmation, and commitment, willingness, and sense of being stable, secure, and trusting. Being grounded also means noticing the environment, opportunities, and cues from the world around us. There's a deepened spiritual connection as transformative spiritual awakening experiences are able to integrate into the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical and neurological systems. The next area is fear of letting go, or are we being pushed? The spiritual awakening journey may lead us softly down a path that arrives at a place where we are no longer able to continue in the way we have. This may be the result of one extreme transformative experience or occur over years of changes that subtly coalesce. How this experience manifests in our lives can occur in different ways. Attachment is one area that can bind us to a past event or experience, or even to possessions of objects, people, locations, or ideas. These attachments are experienced as a consistent energy that we can rely upon that holds us in who we thought we were or needed to be. Attachments can also be in the form of beliefs about our capabilities or limits about what is possible that hold us back, which may be deeply ingrained in our lives from ourselves or others about the expectations of who we are or we need to be. These beliefs can keep us in a self-doubt loop, so we do not see the greater possibilities. These beliefs can be about our gender, restrictions, expectations, career, friends, what we can do, where we can go, which may be old programs that are playing. So what are the benefits of letting go of these attachments? There's an increase of feeling of expansion, like taking a deep breath and stepping into a greater space. This more expansive place opens to new possibilities as opportunities they may never have been presented or noticed before. And there's a next level of spiritual growth. This next level is not even visible until there is a letting go of the old ways and identification as attachments. These lead to an improvement in relationships, sense of happiness and well-being and purpose and being on our path. Letting go of attachments are often much more difficult to do. For some people, it's like stepping off a cliff to see if there will be a hand that will carry you, or that your wings will grow, or if you'll crash. It also can feel like being pushed. Here's some different areas. Recognizing there's fear and acknowledging its presence is helpful. Creating positive affirmations and relying deeply on your spiritual practices connects to our inner knowing, self-trust, and resilience. Asking for support. Discovering a person who you identify as safe to confide in that also gives loving, insightful, inspired encouragement, or a person who you feel has already taken that leap that you can see in a more public place. And discovering others who you know are also on the journey and develop your support system. And there's some links below about this. And always practice noticing how you feel and where the energy is leading you. The next area is the dark night of the soul. Is an experience that often lasts longer than anyone would want it to. It can feel like a great loss and abandonment into the abyss of turmoil and confusion, presenting challenges of doubt, despair, emptiness, even loss of faith. In a previous spiritual orientation, I have experienced this. This can be caused from feeling and experience lack of support and understanding from a religious orientation that no longer has the answers, or they have let you down. This disconnection to what was once valued or taken for granted as a support system just doesn't work, which can cause further alienation if this was part of your network of family or friends and community. Even a dark night of the soul can occur within a spiritual group where the stated values are not how people are operating, and a person sees through the facade, which can be disorienting, saddening, and loss of those relationships and identity. The cause of these disconnections can be from our own spiritual growth that is progressing. These challenges are presented as loss and dissatisfaction, sometimes anger, to the old paradigm that is no longer useful. Another component of the dark night of the soul can be changes in the perception of ourselves as our ego releases identity with those relationships as attachments that are causing triggers that we know are no longer relevant for us. How to get through the dark night of the soul? While some experiences of the dark night of the soul are part of the unfolding to push a person to another level, trauma can be involved. The dark night of the soul with trauma needs attention and support because there's no need to prolong this difficult passage. Looking for a way to get the support and dealing with the trauma is very important. And trauma can connect to our vulnerability and disrupt our sense of reality. While in Western medicine and mental health, the experience of trauma may be treated with medication, in other cultures, it can be a sign or an opportunity for transformation. The person in these cultures is given guidelines, there's community and support as a vital member and contributor to the community. In more ancient methods of dealing with trauma, there is compassion and an opportunity that is valuable to the community and not suppressed. In addition, methods to reclaim the power that was taken or lost during the trauma are facilitated through shifts in consciousness and integration of the experience that allows for processing. And there is also healing in the neurological system with certain changes through accessing different levels of consciousness. These methods facilitate the release of the trauma within the body and mind, emotions, and spirit, reestablishing deep inner self-trust. These same methods release the stress hormone cortisol that results in inflammation and contributes to depression and anxiety and other physical and mental health conditions. And these same procedures and methods develop expansiveness, intuition, deep inner self-trust and connection to inner wisdom, creativity, insight, resilience, and problem solving. And when a person continues to practice these methods regularly, they build the mental, emotional, and neurological systems that are evolutionary shifts and epigenetic changes that are empowering our lives. The next area is loss and rearranging of our identity. When a person has a transformative spiritual experience, whether it is a one-time extreme experience or many mild and moderate transformative spiritual experiences, over time, there are often changes in perception of identity, which can be disorienting and even unsettling, as a feeling of no longer fitting in anywhere and feeling out of place, that there is no community. Social norms and defining who we are. Each time period has a group of unspoken set of words, conversations, behaviors, clothing, expectations for how to be within that culture. These expectations are imposed on children, families, and society, often without any consideration for how valuable these expectations are or how they are stifling or controlling people. The positive side of social norms is they help people feel connected to a social group and create parameters and guidelines that are a set of containment. In addition, limited understanding of transformative spiritual awakening experiences in the West relegates those experiences to a mental health disorder, thus keeping these influential dynamic changes suppressed. The way a culture and people annihilate a person or conversation or feeling or behavior is to ignore and stigmatize, which is often with the title crazy. That makes the person thought of as impotent in all areas of their life and weak and disregarded. We are in a time when many of those old social norms are not only being challenged, but have also been discarded in different areas because they don't serve us. This is especially true for people who experience transformative spiritual awakening experiences. This is because spiritual awakening experiences expand our awareness beyond who we are as a daughter, son, parent, sibling, worker, whatever the career title, friend. There's often a realization we are so much greater than these cultural descriptors. We have the ability to connect to our greater sense of expansive, innate nature, which is eternal and not limited by social norms. We are in a time when societal attitudes are continuing to evolve to a greater space. Even the term spiritual awakening experiences has expanded to become more inclusive of a variety of areas that were not spoken about previously. I certainly have felt the gamut of these social norms changing over time, from saying nothing as a child of my experiences or as a young adult, and to now when I have more recently been speaking about them. The growing acceptance and valuing of these different experiences allows for further expansion, exploration, healing, and evolution. Loneliness and connection is another component of identity. When a person has gone through a transformative experience, there's often a sense of loss of connection and a feeling of being alone because there isn't anyone who can understand or listen without a negative judgment. This results in feeling as if there is nowhere to fit in, and this may very well be true within the pre-existing relationships. However, now we are in a time where the paradigm is changing and continues to change because we are in a time of transformation. Finding community in places where it's acceptable to share gives breathing space and helps to expand ourselves and free ourselves and connect with others. People who are sharing may feel conflict with their professional life, and if information about their experience gets out, may interfere with their professional role and can potentially influence their loss of livelihood. Finding community in the International Association for Near-Death Studies in their free online sharing meetings for people with transformative experiences is one of the places, and another is the Spiritual Awakening International online free sharing community, and the links are below. Another area is imperfection. Social media has brought to the forefront of our human behavior our need to show the world we're perfect and have it all together and are always good. This aspect of social media creates this falseness and even poisonousness. We are imperfect. It's one aspect of our spiritual awakening journey, and the values of what we think are perfection are not what perfection is. And that allows breathing space into the evolution of our development. When we accept we're not perfect, but in process, we are also releasing the inner critic that is always there as part of the ego that is keeping us bound in old paradigms. Allowing for imperfection is also releasing judgment from our past that recognizes there is a thread of purpose through even the most difficult times that is weaving through our lives, that has been guiding us. And what we thought might have been a mistake was actually a way for us to learn and grow. What once would have been judged as a disaster, and even knowing times were extremely difficult, gave us grit, determination, and lessons that were invaluable to taking our power and becoming. The benefits of embracing imperfection include self-acceptance. a sense of peacefulness, love for our journey, and self-love. There's a reduction in stress and anxiety when we know we are beings on the path. This awareness breathes space into our lives for connection to our inner wisdom and self-trust. And when we learn to accept ourselves, we also give space to others, which improves our relationships and what's available to us. This builds a stronger connection and lessens judgment. And when we allow for imperfection, we also become more creative because this opens a space to experience with less restrictions. In this process, there is a release of constraints that features expression and exploration. We may feel expectations about how life is unfolding differently than you had planned. The dream of a perfect family with no divorce, betrayal, or difficulty, living with people who are not what you thought they would be or should be, or you wanted them to be, or the life you wanted them to be, and how teachers or physical guides cannot live up to expectations. Understanding their limitations and allowing those lessons to become part of your journey. All of these give more peace, appreciation, and acceptance. And another area is Kundalini energy, or awakening the serpent. The term Kundalini is widely used to describe energy that is stored within, coiled in a spiral at the base of our spine. This coiled energy arises and lifts up through the spinal column, called the central channel, and through each chakra, eventually rising to the crown when it is completed the process. And this brings forth dynamic energy, life-changing energy within the body, mind, emotions, and spirit, the entire being. A person who has a spiritual awakening experience may not notice slight rises of the Kundalini energy or identify it that way, but may have other experiences that are associated with these changes. Essentially, these are personal, transformational, and heightened states of consciousness manifesting through changes in their mental, emotional, spiritual, etheric, and our psyche. While there are specific practices that are designed to awaken the Kundalini energy, often spiritual awakening experiences are unplanned and can result in different responses within. And the physical body sensations can include overwhelm, disorientation, a vibration or buzzing, sometimes shaking in the physical body, or a movement. There also can be the feeling of heat or tingling, feeling euphoric and not being able to or needing to sleep. Emotional release can include understanding of relationships, the past, releasing memories, and personal healing. Spiritual insights and abilities can increase, and knowings, different intuitive abilities and communication and understanding dimensions and healing abilities may occur. There may be changes in life direction, values, seeking a deep sense of harmony, sense of purpose, and drive for service. These changes are not merely a brief shift in awareness, but at a deep conviction level that is profound and is consistent and doesn't go away. Some of the areas of the mysteries and challenges of spiritual awakening are paradoxical. May the discussion on these different areas bring them to your awareness as a guide to move through the difficulties, give you resources and insight, and further your journey in transformation. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and check out the 3 Malete programs.